All right, so today we're doing a different kind of video. We're doing a Strand build video. So this new Strand build is so fun that it has converted me to a Titan main. Now, this build is not new. I'm sure tons of people have already gone over this, but I have not, and I'm having so much fun with this build, so I want to show people that maybe do not know about it, especially people that follow me, sub to me. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So this is on a Titan. This is a 1-2 punch shotgun melee build, so you definitely need a 1-2 punch shotgun and Syntha steps, and then other than that, let's go into the actual Strand build itself. Now, when it comes to these abilities right here, these are not that important. This is just preference. I use a Tarian Barricade, but you could use a Rally Barricade. Obviously, I use Catapult Lift first, so I can Titan Skate. Frenzy Melee is the only melee, and then Grapple, again, preference. It's fun. You can actually use this super well to improve the build, but I don't really use it that much. But this is the important part. So your aspects, Banner of War and Into the Fray. These are very important. So Banner of War is the entire build. This is what's new to this season. Basically, defeating a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise a Banner of War. That pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies and yourself, and increases melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies charge the banner, increasing the speed of its pulses. So this is amazing, and it gets up to ×4. It heals relatively quickly, but it gives you melee damage and sword damage, and it's awesome. And then Into the Fray. Destroying a Tangled or casting your super grants Woven Mail to you and to your nearby allies. While you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration rate is increased. So again, it increases your melee recharge rate. And then the fragments are not everything. These are not that important, but they can still improve your build. So first off, we have Thread of the Fury. Damaging targets with a Tangled grants melee energy. Again, this just adds to your melee build. Thread of Finality. Finisher Final Blows create Threadlings, plus 10 recovery. I mostly use this for the recovery, but the finishers do go into Banner of War, so it does benefit it. Then we have Thread of Binding. Super Final Blows emit a suspending burst from the target. This is not important. I just use this for the resilience. And then Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, Weapon Final Blows create a Tangle. This adds also plus 10 strength, so that's the main reason why I use this. Now, onto my actual character. So again, 1-2 punch shotgun. You can use any 1-2 punch shotgun. This one's just one of the most fun ones that I've found. But once the season's gone, you may want to switch to an energy so that you can have a Strand weapon to make Threadlings, because, yeah, you're going to need that. Tractor is part of this build, and I'll show why, and I'll explain why later. And then for your helmet mod, you definitely want something that can create armor charges. So I'm using a solar weapon, so I use Solar Siphon. Synthos are a big part of this. Obviously, they increase melee damage. And then you can also have 2 mods on your Synthos. You can have Fonts of Vigor and Melee Kickstart. This just, again, adds to you getting your melee charges more quickly. And then last but not least, my class item. I have 2 time dilations just so that my armor charges decay slower. Now, to show you guys this build in action, I decided to go solo Ekthar. That is the boss in the first boss in the newest dungeon. So basically for the combo, what you want to do is Tractor a boss, then 1-2 punch, then hit him with the 2 of your melee charges, then back to 1-2 punch, and then your last charge. Pop your super. Once your super runs out, it gives you all 3 of your charges, so then you just rinse and repeat. You would, Tractor, 1-2 punch, 2 charges, 1-2 punch, last charge. Now, in your super, what I do is I use the charged attack, which is like the suspend, and then 4 light attacks, and then charge 4 light attacks, rinse and repeat until I run out. I don't know if that's the best possible combo in the super or not, so that's kind of what I've always done it. But there might be a better combo if someone else knows. Feel free to talk about it in the comments. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, it does a ridiculous amount of damage, but it's mostly just super fun. I would also like to point out, I did not do this perfect. I did lose my Banner of War while I was in my super. Normally, I would use my super to extend it by killing more adds, but I did not hit enough adds to extend it further. So my last 3 charges did not have the Banner of War damage buff. But yeah, so it's pretty easy. It's just a super fun build. Like I said, I'm not a Titan main. I've always been a Warlock main, but Warlocks have just gotten really boring and they keep getting nerfed over and over again. So I just decided this build was so fun that I was changing it up and becoming a Titan main. And then the best part about this build is that there's a part 2 to this build that makes it even more fun for just ad clearing encounters or strikes or dungeons or whatever you're doing that doesn't require you to have a boss build on. So back to the subclass, you're really only changing a few things. You're changing one of your aspects to Dranger's Lash. So you're still keeping Banner of War, but you're changing Into the Fray into Dranger's Lash. I don't know if I said Dranger's. I don't know if that's how you say that or not, but this aspect's not new, but activating your class ability suspends enemies, right? It shoots the little line out, suspends enemies in its wake. It's awesome. And so that's the first part. And then you're going to change your 2 fragments that were based on melee stuff, because that's pretty much going away, kinda. And you're adding Threat of Mind, which defeating suspended targets grants class ability energy. So the reason why you want this is because every time you use your class ability, it should suspend enemies, and then you kill those suspended enemies, and you get class ability back. Plus, if you're rocking 100 resilience, you're going to get your class ability quickly anyways. So I highly recommend 100 resilience. And then you're changing the other melee one. This one is just because you just don't need the melee one anymore. But I'm changing it. I changed it to Threat of Isolation, which landing precision hits starts severing the targets. It's just a good random fragment that I enjoy. But you could use whatever you want here in its place. Now back to actual gameplay. Basically, all you're changing is you're taking off the tractor cannon and you're putting on a Strand sword. I think this is the only Strand sword in the game. It came from last season. It's the Taken sword called Thin Precipice. I'm not 100% sure if there's another Strand sword. If there is, I apologize. I just don't think there is. But you can still get this sword if you didn't get it last season. It just comes from last season's engrams, where you just go to the helm and activate the artifact, and then bam, you can get the sword still. And then the other thing that you want to change is your exotic. You do not need Synthesteps on anymore. You can keep Synthesteps on, but the primary function of Synthesteps is for boss damage. And like I said, this is more of an ad clearing build. So you can put the Titan Strand exotic legs on, which are called Abeyant Leap, I believe is how you say that. Again, I apologize if I pronounced it incorrectly. But yeah, so in the actual video now, I did not have them on. I kind of forgot to put them on. But basically, it just makes your suspend even better. Instead of it being the single line of suspend, it makes it a triple line of suspend. So this build is just more about suspending and keeping up your class ability constantly. But again, like, it's mostly just an ad clearing build. But you still keep the 1-2 punch on for like chunkier ads, like yellow bars and stuff like that. Because again, the melee is still super, super strong. You don't need Synthos for it to be good enough for these stronger enemies. And then, yeah, and then your main focus with this build is just sword. Like, you're constantly killing ads with sword. I believe my sword has chain reaction on it. I don't think it's that great. Most of the time, by the time it blows up, most of the ads are already gone. But yeah. And then another cool thing about this build is you could also just pair this with a good boss damage sword, because again, you get an increased sword damage from ×4 Banner of War. So you could pair this with like Lament or Spin to Win Sword or Bequest or whatever, and again, it would still be ridiculously strong. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I just absolutely love this build. I'm having so much fun with this build. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm a Warlock main, and I've completely converted. I've pretty much only played Titan this season because of how much fun this build is. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Peace.